You've seen Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and you've tried hard not to think about it too much since. But maybe now you're ready for something new, something different, something you can mention online without ending up in a debate with a Gungan eugenics enthusiast. Maybe you should watch this instead. The conclusion to the 9-film Skywalker saga finally blasted onto your screen, and it was definitely a movie. Thankfully, there are some core elements we can tease out and find in other, arguably better films that'll give you the big Star Wars-y payoff you were looking for. 1. The action in Star Wars 9, Rise and Shine Walker centers on a very complicated plan from Big Sith on campus Sheev Palpatine. There's science labs on hidden planets, jars of Snokes, body swapping, maps inside maps, and huge fleets of Star Destroyers built in secret, even though the last film just told us all these weapons were made by third parties. It's complicated, is what I'm saying. But maybe we can find something complicated and comprehensible. 2. While the plans are hard to follow, the science is soft and easy to digest. Sometimes referred to as science fantasy, Star Wars has all the spaceships and gadgets of a sci-fi universe, but you're not going to get lost in the technical details of an X-Wing's power source or the radiant heat dissipation of a lightsaber. That's what the fandom wikis are for. Stay off our turf, movie. 3. Clones! Cloning gets a bad rap in fiction, and Star Wars Rise Up to the Streets is no different. We're talking full-blown dark cloning.
Dark science. Cloning. Secrets only the Sith knew.
Clones are all over this movie and this franchise. The Emperor's a clone, the Troopers are clones, the second Death Star is basically a clone. The franchise loves making copies of itself. 4. Writers J Abrams and Chris Terrio fulfilled their destiny, as foretold by a horny section of the fanfiction community, and gave Rey and Kylo Ren the big romantic moment they've been not too seriously, but what if they did, oh my gosh, playing with. Which they then tried to walk back by calling it a kiss of gratitude, which is a concept only the most kissless of nerds would believe is a thing. Gratitude kissing is not a thing. Take it from me, a guy who's kissed tens of times. Rey totally fell for the bad boy at the end. I don't care if he turned good at the last second. A red crossguard lightsaber is the Star Wars equivalent of smoking while riding a motorcycle. And finally, Rise of Soy Saucer is all about the plucky underdogs toppling the big bad bullies with a combination of grit, determination, magic, and plot contrivance. You walked out of Rise of Skywalker invigorated and full of hope until you thought about it a little harder. Then, yeah. But the point is the good guys won against seemingly impossible odds. So if you like these elements from Rise of Skywalker, we've got some stuff for you to watch until Taika Waititi finishes Star Wars 10, The New Zealand Republic. Only one movie managed to go 5 for 5 on these elements, and it's not too surprising since it partially inspired Star Wars to begin with. The immortal sci-fi classic Fritz Lang's Metropolis. You want a movie with some complicated evil plans? It's German, of course it's got that. And while it's not technically cloning, they make a copy of a human being inside a robot body. That's what I call clones enough. And what's a more David vs. Goliath tale than the downtrodden workers versus the oppressive capitalists? Does that sound too political to be an alternative to Star Wars? Sorry to break this to you, but those movies are about Vietnam. Don't at me, at Papa George.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes.
But hey, if you aren't looking for something quite as harsh, let's move on to our 4 for 5 matches and pick something fun. Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me. The Shaggadelic one is himself quite the bad boy, mojo or no mojo. His nemesis, Dr. Evil, has a fiendishly complex plan of the soft sci-fi lasers on the moon variety. There's even an evil little clone. Aww. See, this is how you do family drama the right way, Star Wars. Back to the more serious side for a bit, how about Arrival? It goes heavy into the details of linguistics and language theory, but the hard sci-physics stuff gets quickly sidelined because it don't work too good on these Squidwards. There's a romance between Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner's baddish, boyish character. They save the day in a plot that will break your brain if you think too hard about it. And what could be more David v. Goliath than one plucky scientist trying to overcome not just an alien language barrier, but the entire global military-industrial complex. Edgar Wright's adaptation of the indie comic Scott Pilgrim vs. the World features all sorts of ill-fated bad boy adjacent romances. I mean, Scott sucks. Literally every woman in the film can do better. Plus, Scott's up against impossible odds, having to fight guys like Chris Evans and Brandon Routh. Then he's got to defeat, or at least befriend, his dark clone, Mega Scott. We could use a fun refresher on how to be a slightly less crappy person using video game metaphors. You should watch it. Now, go. Finish this video later. Welcome back for another 3-matcher, Ridley Scott's sci-fi horror classic Alien. The movie's sci-fi without too much mumbo-jumbo, and the villainous Weyland-Yutani Corporation has an extremely misguided plan to bring a deadly alien specimen back to Earth at the cost of the entire crew's lives. And H.R. Geiger's creature design posits that eternal question: what if your privates grew teeth and tried to eat Sigourney Weaver? As Han Solo once said,
"Never tell me the odds."
Because for the characters in this film, they are very bad. Okay, hear me out on these 2-element matches. This film may not tread a ton of common ground on the surface, but Rise of Skywalker shares a few key actors with one of the best ever Coen Brothers films, the heartfelt folk music drama Inside Llewyn Davis. Poe Dameron himself stars as Llewyn Davis, and he's as much of a bad boy as you can be in the folk music scene. Carey Mulligan would probably be happier if they never dated. Plus, there's no bigger underdog story than someone trying to make it in the music business. Plus, you get to see Kylo Ren sing about outer space.
Outer?
Now this is folk-influenced pop music. Hard though it may be to believe, Star Wars Dr. Pimple Popper also has some key overlap with the 2001 action sci-fi Jet Li vehicle, the One. And by vehicle, I mean that it is a glorified martial arts showcase, and I am not complaining. He's got so many clones! Look at him hit one with a motorcycle. He has to stop an evil version of himself killing every other version of himself in the multiverse to gain their powers? That's badass and complicated, bordering on nonsensical. It also ends with the needle drop that could only have been approved in the year 2001. Sick. How much better would Rise of Skywalker have been if that's what played when Lando showed up? Still aren't quite sure what to watch? Well, the soft, squishy meat sacks behind this video recommend Inside Llewyn Davis. Go folk yourself, kids. But the cold, unflinching gaze of reason would point you towards the Rotten Tomatoes Tomatometer, where Alien 1 takes the top spot with a 98%. Or Metacritic user scores, where Alien 1 also takes the top spot. Or the most trafficked community on Fandom, where Alien is again the one to go with. Which movie do you think you'll actually watch next? Do we miss anything particularly Rise of Skywalker-y? Did Rise of the Last Jedi ruin Star Wars more for you? Let's talk about literally anything else in the comments below.